Okay. Say, you know what? It's actually been a while since we actually had a live stream.
Yeah, it has been a while since we've done
So
a podcast together.
I know, right? Anyway, so how you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah,
Just
chilling
yeah,
there in
yes,
Poland.
like a Polish villain. Huh?
Yeah.
Poland's good.
I
We
say, how's
finally
the
got
weather
some
over there?
snow. Oh my God, for the
Yeah.
first time, we got some snow. That global warming thing, man. I was hoping we'd have some bananas growing, but nope, we got snow.
You know what's interesting, right? Because like when we first moved there, that was like what, around February, like
Yes, that was a
2013 and stuff.
horrible winter. Yes,
Yes,
that was a
I have never
horrible
seen
winter.
so much snow, man. That was freaking awesome.
And it
Yeah,
lasted up until May.
I remember that.
Yeah.
And then the flowers that used to
And then
grow in
the
there.
winters have just been getting milder and milder every year.
Well, it's not a bad thing though, because like let's face it, I don't like
Well,
big winters anyway. So
I mean, that depends. Like, I'm happy because I won't, spend an arm and a leg on heating.
yeah,
So that's
but the
good.
thing that used
But,
to suck though, but the thing that used to be bad because of the mild winter is that it didn't kill all the bugs. So then the
mhm.
farming used to be affected by it afterward.
Well, not just the farming, we'd have plagues of like mosquitoes in the summertime and stuff. Yeah. But yes,
Mm.
it really affected the farmers. That's who is affected the most by it. So.
So you've been listening to what's been going on YouTube, right? The
I mean, I've been
whole
noticing some things. I've been noticing some things.
the whole debates about interracial couples and all this stuff. So like, what do you think about it? What's your perspective on that matter?
Okay, that's a very vague question. Are you asking me something specific, or you just want to know my entire opinion on it?
Well, I'm actually looking for your opinion when it comes to the criticism that has been going on when it comes to interracial dating. What
Uh,
has been said and how it's how interracial couples are somewhat being targeted at some point,
It
or
does feel that way. You know what I think it is?
mm,
I think what's going on. Okay, this is just my opinion, right? I have been told that I'm not allowed to have an opinion when it comes to other races. But because this is
yeah,
discussing something that technically I'm a part of, I have a right to have an opinion. And in my opinion, okay,
mm,
it's nothing more than a proxy war.
how so?
Hold on. Let me check the definition of what a proxy war actually is, right?
Mm. Well, I
Okay, this
mean,
is a horrible. Oh, I hate the Google definitions, man. They're really horrible. But
your
the
own
reason I
interpretation.
think it's a proxy, the reason I think it's a proxy war is the fact is because everybody attacks the other person's partner. So if it's um let's say it's a black woman, right? That's attacking the interracial couple. She's going to attack the partner, right? So in the
Yeah.
sense where look at the partner that you've chosen, they're lesser than what you could have had, but you didn't want it anyway. So I don't understand, right? So it's just like it's almost like they're attacking me for being with you in order to hurt you, which doesn't make sense to me,
Yeah.
right? But the black men do the same thing. When they attack a black woman who's in an interracial relationship, they attack her partner, saying how he's lesser, he's this, he's that,
See,
just so
it's
they
like
can try and hurt the woman's feelings. I don't get it.
no, it's
But
funny, right?
hold on, because I'm not done yet. And the reason I say it's a proxy war is because not only
Mm.
are you attacking the partners, but the ones who have the biggest opinion about interracial couples are the ones who don't want to interracially date.
No, but listen to this, right? Here's what I've actually seen, because like the the so-called war actually like that has been going on is like it's been so fucking pointless, because you have guys that date interracially, right? not like in a long term per se, but more like in short relationship, like pump and dump type of
Okay.
relationship.
You do realize you cut me off after you asked me a question.
Yeah, well, that's what the fuck we do. We cut each other all the time. Yeah, I'll give you some
Okay. That's why I
sometimes.
asked you to ask me a specific question. Otherwise, do you want to know a specific question, or do you want to have a general perspective? And you're like, basically just generalize it. And I'm in the middle of trying to give you my perspective. And you're like, but this is what I think. This is why if you ask a specific question, it's easier because then I can give you a short answer to your specific question, and then you can fill it in with whatever it is that you wanted to say in the
Yeah,
first place.
but
Because
see,
right now
that's the
it almost
problem.
sounds like what because you know what it feels like? It feels like you're
Mm.
asking me a question, but you don't really want me to answer it. You want to answer
No, but ah, you killing me, babe.
it.
All
Because
right, but
I did, all
no,
I'm
no, no,
doing
no.
is I'm
Listen,
letting you
listen.
know that you cut me off in the middle of a conversation. So if I ever do that to you, you can't tell me off for it.
But hey, but listen, listen. All right. So, all right, you're right. I cut you off, but let's face it. At some point when the conversation's gonna go like crazy, you're gonna cut my ass off too from time to time. So,
And that's all I'm saying.
suck on
So
that.
don't be like don't interrupt me, woman.
Well, obviously, my ego is gonna get in the way from time to time. Shit, the fuck. Just like your ego is gonna get in the way from time to time. You know that shit.
I'm trying to have an adult conversation here.
All right. So, but I do wanna. All right. So you're right. I do wanna hear what you have to say. Um, but the thing is, like, sometimes I also don't want to forget my point as well, just so I just drop it in there. So
Yeah.
if I have something to say real quick, I'm gonna just let you know. Be like, all right, give me a quick second. I'm gonna just chime in real quick, and then you do that the same as well, vice versa. So then we don't feel like
Okay, I
we're just
think that's
bouncing off each other.
okay. All right. So
Would
basically,
that work
allow
better?
me to interject, right? That would be the phrase to use. Allow me to interject, and that's when you just like
Exactly.
throw in your 5 cents and then back out, and be like, okay, you can finish. Never mind, I'm gonna be on a whole nother. Okay, we can do.
Would that work better?
Yes,
All
maybe.
right.
I don't know. We'll see.
Okay. All right. So let's so basically you were talking about a proxy war, right? So and in what way you kind of so you were saying the proxy war.
I was trying to explain what I meant by a proxy war when you interjected,
All right, so go ahead, I want you to
and
finish
then
now.
I interrupted you. All right. So it feels like the black woman is pissed off with the black man, and the black man is pissed off with the black woman, and then anybody that's in the middle gets caught and is like collateral damage.
Yep.
And because the interracial couple is like indifferent to that fight, not we're not hateful because I really don't like how people are like, well, I don't mind you interracially dating, but I really don't want you to complain about the person, so your own race. But personally, from the people that I have spoken to that have dated interracially, they don't complain about the other gender of their race. You know what I mean? Like the
Hmm.
females who date interracially don't put down the black man. Okay. But I'm talking about long term dating and marriage. I'm not talking about fucking other cultures. And I see like a lot of people who put down their own race, but they interracially, they're not really dating long term. They're just exploring other cultures, vaginas, and dicks.
Well, it's funny because that was the
So
point
that's
I
what
was
I'm
gonna
saying.
make.
It's a proxy war because it's like the interracial couple in the middle. We're not hateful towards anybody. We're just minding our own business. And everybody's like, nah, you need to be involved in our fight. And then the other side's like, no, you need to be involved in our fight.
uh,
And
but here's a funny thing, right? Like I've seen it a lot, right? When it comes to that whole proxy war, what tends to occur is that they take on the low. I mean, they take on the worst of what bashful um of the vitriol of the other person, right? So, for example, they would complain about black men that are dating and that are in interracial dating, who who actually use their like, to degrade black women, right? Say for example, a black man dating a white girl, right? And then
Mhm.
he's being he's being very um nasty towards black women. But
Derogatory,
it's
yeah.
just a small, yeah, but it's a small group of men that would actually do that, and that's actually comes from a place of insecurity. It's the same way
But
that like some
but
black
that the
women.
same thing applies. Yeah, the same thing applies to the women.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, but now the thing about it though, these are the example that they actually magnify to
Yeah.
showcase that or we date other women because we're try to show off, or we're try to actually it's like like as a vengeance. But in reality, like most interracial couple, like dude, they don't care about that shit.
Hmm.
And I think the main I think the main insecurity comes from the fact that those who date outside of their culture don't give a shit.
Are
And I think
indifferent.
that's the
Exactly.
yeah, are indifferent because
They're not joining the
love,
fight. You know, they're the
yes,
ones on the
love and
fence.
hate. Listen. The opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference. Because
Yes.
if you don't really care about what the fuck is going on, so then therefore the person cannot get that sort of reaction out of you to actually make you feel like, oh, okay, that person still care. And then that's the fear of oh wow, that dude is not really gone, because like he's not trying to diss a black women or women of his race or vice versa. Like for example, Eve, the rapper Eve,
Hmm.
she married a white dude. You don't hear this chick complaining about this whole shit, like, oh, black men this, black men that. No, she's doing her own thing. She's happy in her relationship. She's good.
Because she doesn't
Yeah,
have a reason to.
exactly. You know,
Yeah.
but isn't it
I
kind of
think. I
funny?
think.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
I think the people who do that, like I said, they're the ones who aren't really looking for a long-term partner. They're just short-term fucking, and they're fetishizing it. Whether and white people do it too. White people do it. Black people do it. Anybody does it. Whenever you're just like, and it's like, I'm with this chick because you're not submissive enough, or I'm with this dude because he spends money on me, or whatever fucking reason you want to use. That's fetishizing that. You're not actually with the person because of the character of the person. You're with them either for what they can give you, which is narcissistic, or because you're trying to hurt someone. Why would you do that? That's detrimental to your own success in life.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, and I fall in this category. I used to do this a lot too, and I catch myself now. A lot of people, when they come across criticism, sometimes, let me see if I can explain this, if I can word it how so it
Hmm.
doesn't come out wrong. We jeopardize our own lives just to prove someone a point, a
What do you mean?
negative point at that.
Elaborate.
Um, Sorry, I apologize if you can hear my dog snoring in the background. Forrest is
You see,
just.
here's the funny thing, right? There's a difference between a criticism of a behavior that can be found in a group of people versus
Okay, the best example. Sorry, go ahead. I just came
versus
up with a
being
good
hateful,
example.
yeah, versus being hateful towards a group of people because there's something that you dislike about them. And
Mhm.
those who actually with a fragile self-esteem can't differentiate between the two, or they don't want to differentiate between the two.
Mhm.
Yep. So go ahead. Before you lose your train of thought.
All
So
right.
what were you
So
saying?
recently, right? Recently, I had to our hot water heater broke, right? And I
Yep.
had to call the plumber, and I didn't want to call in between the holidays because I knew they charged me an arm and a leg. And my mom was just like every day on my case, call him, call him, call him. And I'm like, just stop. I told you I'm gonna call him after New Year's. Don't keep pushing me because you're not. The way I phrased it to her is like, you're not adding gas. Okay, you're not gonna make me speed up and do as you want because you're telling me to. I'm just gonna end up I'm just going to make it worse for myself because I'm just going to sit down on my ass and say, I'm not going to do it just because you're demanding it out of me. That is detrimental to my life. Like I almost was willing to take cold showers for more days just so I don't say, oh shit, yeah, I got to call it exactly when my mom demands it out of me. Because I didn't want to give her the satisfaction of me complying with her demand. That's all it was. And I think a lot of people do that.
Mm-hmm.
To
But
the detriment of their own life.
yeah, but check this out though now, right? Look at the bright side of it. Look at let me because I'm the type I like to see the glass half full, right? So now, if there's a lot of hatred that goes towards interracial couple, right? So then the stubbornness that can actually come out of that is now the interracial couples, even when they have problems, so instead of walking away, but the fact that there's so many people that wish ill upon them, they are now more willing to work things out to find a common ground because they don't want to prove these fuckers wrong. They don't want to prove these
That's
fuckers right.
true. That is true.
You know? Because it's like,
oh, but no. But I did when I said to the detriment there, I'm not talking about the interracial couple when that
yeah,
happens. I'm talking about the people who are dating, let's say the dudes who are dating a white girl because somehow she's got better whatever's than a black girl. Or because a black girl pissed them off, so they're gonna date a white girl. Like, don't you realize white girls are annoying as fuck? You think what? You think that's not gonna piss you? You know what I mean? Those people, those are doing it to spite somebody else, not realizing that they're doing it. They're causing themselves harm just
oh
to
yeah.
do it.
I think
It's
if listen, I think if you anybody who's willing to sabotage themselves in order to actually prove a point to
prove a
someone
point.
else,
Yeah,
it's just is I think it's dumb,
yeah.
you know. But isn't it kind of interesting? Like a lot of these debate that's going on about interracial couple, they
Don't
don't
include
have.
anybody that's in an interracial relationship.
Yeah,
Do you
right.
have any idea how annoying that is? Like, when I check if it's a panel or if it's somebody talking about it, I check to see who's speaking, and I'm like, can there at least be a mixed person? I understand you don't want to have a person that's married to out of if in an intercultural marriage or long term relationship. I understand that, but
Why
can you at
not?
least have someone?
I think that's actually
I
the best
think,
way.
I mean, I guess you are absolutely right. There should be, but then again, I'm sorry. Do you mind if I continue? Because
No,
I'm
no,
kind
go
of on
ahead,
a
go ahead.
rant right now. Okay,
No, no, go ahead.
this is something I was telling you earlier that actually got us on this podcast. It's like I don't really think this is about someone like me and you, because you and I, we're not interracially dating, right?
Mm,
The reason
yep.
we're not interracially dating is twofold. One, we're not dating, we're married.
Hmm.
Nobody talks about interracial marriage. Okay, that's the category we fall into. We don't fall into the dating category. And two, I have come to the conclusion because I listened to a few dating coaches. They're not really teaching people how to date. They're teaching people how to, for the sake
I
of
don't.
not being, perverted. Although I already said a lot of weird things, but they're teaching people how to smash. That's it.
Mm.
The male dating coaches are teaching the men how to get sex, and then the female dating coaches are teaching women how to get rich or get
Resources.
the bag.
Yep, exactly.
Resources, yes,
Resources.
exactly.
See,
Hold on. So even when they're talking about interracial dating, they're talking about interracial fucking and interracial gold digging. That's all they're talking about. Those are the people that they're speaking about. So I can't. I mean, does it rattle my chains little when I hear him talking about it, and there's not a single person that's actually allowed to speak that is in an interracial relationship? Yes, it kind of is a little irritating. But then I realize it's not about me anyway. So,
mm. Yeah, but
yeah,
see, here's the thing, right? Because a lot of these discussion um takes place in a form that is very intellectually dishonest, because it's not about it's not about having a logical perspective. It's about emotion. It's about emotions being riled up. So then, therefore, people yelling back and forth at each other, and then nobody really gets the point across because it's an ego jerk.
It's entertainment.
And yeah, it is quite entertaining, you know. And the thing about it though is like, regardless how useless some of these discussions may appear to be, however, when you come across like what I'm gonna say is like a whole different topic. We'll talk about that some other time. But the thing is like,
Okay.
you out of the chaos, you come across certain people that actually make sense logically. And then once you see that, then you then gravitate towards that person and be like, oh, you know what? I like this dude. I'm on sub
Mm-hmm.
to his channel and stuff like that, right? So
Mm-hmm.
even so, therefore, it's like he may seem
It
frustrated to
introduces you to other viewpoints and different viewpoints.
exactly, yeah. So like for example, right? Let's say that let's say Big J's on the panel like that, right? And he's tried to give certain logic, certain information that can actually explain some of the dysfunction that has been going on. And then you have other people that are just like, rah, 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 rah. And then, so you can relate to what I said,
Out
PJ.
shouting him, so you can't even really. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's when you're like, this guy's pretty smart, So even though he might be frustrated at what
And then a
going
lot of
on.
times what happens is you go and check out his
Mhm.
channel, and you're like, who is this
Yep,
person?
exactly. So,
Mm-hmm.
it's all good, man. But um I forget the question I was gonna ask you. Shit.
Maybe because you already answered
Probably.
it. So we were talking about interracial relationships, and I was saying how they're not relevant to me because I'm not in an
Yeah.
interracial. I'm not
Mm,
interracially dating. I'm married, and nobody talks about interracial marriage.
yep.
So, you
Oh
know,
yeah.
um,
This is what I wanted to say, right? Here's the thing, right? Okay, like for those who actually have an issue with interracial couples, right? Or interracial dating, whatever you want to call it, then why don't you provide a better example for others to follow? What I mean by this, like, if because the complaint, right? You have on one side, let's say for the female, that says, the degradation of the black man's choice. Like, oh, he's going out with a ugly white woman. He's going out with a fat white woman. He's like basically anything that they can throw shade at that person who decide to date outside of his race, right, or outside of his culture. And then the men on the other hand would then say something similar, like like she's dating a guy that's a loser, that's this, that's that, but because he's white,
mhm,
blah blah blah, all this bullshit, right? So then
mhm.
why don't they then show us how beautiful it is to actually be in, how beautiful black love is? Because
I
I
mean,
think that is
there is
more
plenty
attractive.
that do.
Yes, like Ice
They're just
Cube,
not
you have
loud.
plenty of good example. That's the thing. So then if you only want to criticize, you only want to point the negative, but you're not willing to actually showcase the positive and stuff like that, then how do you expect people to gravitate towards that? Because you only have the stick but not the carrot. You see what I'm saying? And that, to me, that's like, that makes no sense. Like, lead by example. Everybody want to claim to be leaders, and why don't you lead by example?
Well,
'Cause
then that's where you can't take the argument seriously.
Mhm.
And that's why you said they're being intellectually dishonest, but they're not trying to be intellectual. They're just trying to, well, all right, a lot of them just trying to get views. I think it was Miss Erica Williams that has coined
Yep.
the phrase outrage marketing
Yep.
or rage marketing or something. Well, maybe she's not. She didn't coin it, but that's where I heard it from. And
Yep.
that's what it is. It's just, it's scandal. Scandal sells. Scandal always has sold.
Mhm. Scandal,
So
sex, all that.
exactly. And if you can incorporate the two, who is he fucking tonight? right? Or what was it? Something to the who they really choose or something like that.
Yeah.
That's gonna bring you buck. You know,
Mm.
nobody wants
Yeah.
to actually watch Denzel Washington talk about how he kept his marriage lasting so long.
No. Nobody
Everybody
want
want
to
to
talk
talk
about.
about who fucked who and who broke up with who. That's what's
Well, yeah.
interesting. You know,
Exactly.
so that's what I really think that's what it's about. It's not nobody. I don't think anyone's really trying to solve any issues. Okay, I really don't.
But see, here's the thing, right? Here's what I see it as well. Is because if you don't have any buyers, then no, you're gonna have to try to sell something else, right? So a lot of time, right? Some of these folks, they try to sell like a feel good message. So if let's say your crowd, right, the people that are gravitating towards you are those who are, they failed at their personal relationship. They failed at, let's say, at being competitive and in an economic perspective. They failed at a lot of aspect in their lives. So there's two things that can happen. You can either look in the mirror and take accountability for where you went wrong and then you try to fix it, or you just pass the buck. You just blame somebody else for that failure. So
Well,
then,
that's the easiest thing to do because then you don't have to
yeah, that is
change.
the easiest
Think
thing to do.
hard.
So then the 80-20 rule apply to that aspect as well, because like only 20% of people would actually now, look in the mirror and then just be like, all right, you know what? I can make a change in myself, so then I can do better. But the rest of them that actually did not make it, they are now looking for someone to tell them that it's not your fault. It's okay.
Yeah,
You know, um,
it's
you
that one's fault.
exactly. It's the guy that is in a interracial marriage that has, that you did not want anyway, and he chose not to be around in a
If
relationship. He chose not to be available
if
for you,
it's
and
like
vice versa with the
the
women as well.
mentality goes, if I don't want them, no one can have them. That's the logic.
Pretty much, you know.
And it goes on both sides. On both sides, whether it's both sides of the genders and both sides of the races as well. So
Yeah.
sorry, hold on. No, I shouldn't be doing that. Hold on, I need to pour my kettle.
Ah, sweet. You're gonna
That's
get
what I'm
yourself some
pouring.
coffee.
Okay, it's the kettle.
Ah, you getting coffee or boshed?
No, I'm getting some coffee.
Uh, well, the
Actually, I should
time's up.
probably drink some of my Red Bull, huh?
Red Bull?
Or should I?
Eh, just skip that for now. Yeah, but time's almost up anyway. So we're gonna do part two. Yeah, let's do part two. I like talking to your ass. All
All
right,
right. So
so
so should I put the coffee on or should I not put the coffee on?
put the coffee on as I get ready for part two. So
Okay.
anyway,
All right.
so this is Arbanaka, and
It's
it's my girl
serious.
Siri. So we decided to weigh in on this topic. All right, so we'll be right back for part two. Well, technically, part two will be coming up soon at some point. All right,
At
peace.
some point. All right. Bye, everyone.
All right. Oh yeah, make sure you share, like, and subscribe. Peace.
And hit the bell button.
Oh yeah, that's right. All right. All right, babe. Mwah. Talk to you in a bit.
Mwah. Bye.
Bye.